Hey, what's up guys, Benny here and welcome to Xbox On. Now, one game that I just can't get enough of ever since it came to Xbox One is PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. In the last few months, I think I've spent more time on that island than I have outside my actual house. What you have to remember is that PUBG is in game preview, so is constantly being updated and improved as time goes on. Down the line, this means new maps to look forward to, but even in the 3 months it's been out on Xbox One, we've had some amazing improvements that have made PUBG play better and better. With the latest patch adding some amazing quality of life tweaks, we thought we'd look at the top improvements made to PUBG so far. Now, the biggest impact on the way PUBG plays is the way PUBG runs. There have been big improvements to PUBG's stability since the launch of the game. Remember that the game is in game preview, so is still in development, which means when it first came to Xbox One, you could expect to see technical issues that needed ironing out. Fast forward 3 months and the game is much improved. The frame rate is more stable, meaning you don't feel that you're losing kills to jittery performance. There's much less server lag too, which is so important to the smooth running of a game. Just parachuting down at the start of the match shows you a better level of pop-in as the world begins to fill in below you. It all adds up into a better experience that feels easier to play. You may not always see it when I stream the game, but I've genuinely seen my own performance improve as the game gets better with each update. It feels much more reliable and that makes it reliably fun. Of course, if you're playing constantly and seeing all the updates as they drop, then you've seen these gradual improvements. If you haven't played the game since launch in December, you should hop back in and see just how much it has changed. You'll be pleasantly surprised. Best of all, the developers at Bluehole are constantly listening to player feedback to help create the best PUBG experience possible. One of the most recent updates to the game overhauls how every match starts. In old PUBG, everyone would spawn on a strange island, letting you see 100 maniacs in their pants running around a lump of rock and trying to shoot each other with any weapon that they could grab. It was pretty funny, but definitely had the shakiest performance in the game. The recent update now uses areas of the main map as the lobby and gathers players in smaller groups, and it runs so much better than the original lobby island. This is just a holding area before the game begins, so it has zero impact on the match that follows, but it makes you feel so much better about the game when it kicks off with a better experience. One of the biggest changes to PUBG since the launch on Xbox One is the vehicles. They're constantly being tweaked and adjusted to suit the Xbox One gameplay. You see, when it first came out, you could win games of PUBG purely by driving around in a UAZ running people over. UAZs could take a large amount of damage before being destroyed, and you took minimal damage for crashing into objects or other parts of the terrain, which basically made you a moving tank. Get one of these bad boys in the end zone and you could just clean up. But thankfully that is no longer possible. With weapons now doing more vehicle damage, which makes it easier to destroy them, you're also able to take out a vehicle's wheels a lot more easily, causing them to spin out, which can let you pick up a couple of extra quick kills quite easily. Thankfully, now compared to the launch of the game, it's not as vehicle dominant. Well, unless you count the speed freaks who use vehicles to chase down airdrops and grab all the best equipment in the game. It's a classic Benny play. One update that for me has made PUBG a hell of a lot better on the Xbox One is the addition of first person mode to solos, duos and squads. For my money, it makes the game so much more intense compared to the traditional third person mode, due to it narrowing down your vision, with you having to rely more on sound and your own individual game knowledge to be able to track down enemies. Also, there's this whole risk versus reward element in first person mode compared to third person, as if you want to peek around a tree, rather than just hiding behind it like you do in third person, you have to actually move out, which opens you up to being spotted yourself or being shot at. Obviously, there's a lot of debate over which camera mode is better. Do make sure to let us know down in the comments below which one you're currently sticking with and why. Here's a great example of the kind of tiny changes that make life better. When PUBG first came out, if you wanted to mark anywhere on your map for your teammates to see, it would take an absolute age. You would have to zoom out and then move your cursor slowly across the screen before zooming in to mark the location that you wanted to head towards. However, with a recent PUBG update, that cursor speed was increased so that you're now able to move the cursor across the map a lot quicker to help coordinate with your squad mates. A small improvement, yes, but an update that helped make PUBG that little bit better. And now there's no good excuse not to be using those map markers to coordinate attacks and pull off some awesome plays, so make sure you're using them. One feature that recently got added to PUBG that I was incredibly thankful for, especially when you had to cover a large amount of ground to get into the zone, was the addition of the auto run feature, which you can activate by double clicking your left thumbstick. This means you can just focus on what's going around you, managing your inventory, or placing a marker on the map as you head towards the safety of the zone. At the very least, it saved my thumb some work. Another update that I was incredibly thankful for was making the pistol hotkey to the D-pad rather than in the primary weapon rotation, because when I first played PUBG I would just avoid picking up a pistol at all costs, as it would just take me that little bit longer to rotate through my weapons, which I found incredibly annoying, and so did a large amount of the player base. But because Bluehole are always listening to player feedback, they made the choice to change it so that to equip your pistol, all you needed to do was press up on the D-pad, and it was just another update that helped make the game that little bit better on our Xbox One. That quick pistol swap has saved my bacon more times than I care to mention. Another small update that I was incredibly thankful for was the slight graphical improvement to the red dot sight, holographic sight, and 2x scope, which used to be a bit blurry, but since the update has made the sights a lot sharper, so you're able to be that bit more precise while using those scopes. Now, those are just some of my favorite improvements, but remember, PUBG is constantly being updated. We've gone ahead and included a link to the latest patch notes down in the description below if you want to check them out in more detail. But also, do make sure to let us know what your favorite improvement to PUBG has been in the comments, and make sure to smash that like button. And if you want loads more great PUBG coverage, make sure to subscribe so that you never miss out on another video, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye!